Ninjago is one of LEGO's biggest themes, but that means that there are a lot of sets that are going to be retiring this year. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through what each of those are. Of course, if you're interested in knowing which of these sets may make for good investments, and where you can currently get the best deal on them in your region, make sure to check out that separate video which you can watch for free over on Rumble, link in the description below. Now we will start just with a very small one, this Kai's Source Dragon Battle set 71815, and the reason we begin with it is because it actually retires in July of this year. Pretty much everything else in this video is going to last through until December of this year. Might come forwards or backwards a little bit. That's always the way, but this one is going to be gone in July. And look, it's a 4+ set. It's very small. It's also very highly priced. Price per piece on this is not good, even considering that it is a 4+ set. And whilst it does look pretty good, there's not much to play with for such a big price tag. But anyway, that's going to be going soon. Of far more interest, I'm sure, is this Ninjago City Market set 71799, one of the biggies, with 6,163 pieces. And it is sets like this from the Ninjago range that can really look absolutely fabulous when you do have them on display. It's also very reasonably priced, works out around 5 pence per piece in the UK, about 6 cents in the States and in Europe, but it is a decent value even at that retail price, and it comes with a lot of minifigs, 21 in total. 19 of those are still unique to this day. This is one not just for hardcore Ninjago fans, but for collectors in general, people who just want a really great looking display piece, something that's fantastic to play with as well. And even if you've never been involved in the Ninjago theme before, it's just one of the sets which actually you could quite happily dip into the theme in order to have it as a standalone set. It obviously integrates well with the Ninjago city, and if you don't mind mixing and matching, then it's not that hard to fit it into an overall city setup. Even some of the Friends builds, quite frankly, although nowhere near as detailed, colour-wise do match in. Basically, no matter what your normal preferences are, this is a pretty good set. Now, of course, even though the price per piece is good, overall, it's fairly expensive. If you're interested to know what that's going to potentially mean in terms of acquiring it and looking at it as an investment, then check out the video, link in the description below, where you can watch my guide to that exclusively over on Rumble. Moving on, we'll go through things chronologically in order of set number. So the next is 71804, Aaron's Battle Pack. Obviously just a very small 4+ set again, currently on sale, certainly in the States anyway, on Lego itself. And whilst it might not be as appealing as Kai's Source Dragon Battle, that other 4+ set that we looked at, no, it doesn't have a dragon, but it's got a pretty cool mech in it. Tiny little glider, so it's very small again, but actually the price overall isn't as bad on one like this. It does offer some playability, so if it's the sort of thing that you like picking up maybe as a gift for the younger Lego fan, just be advised that that's also going to be going, and pretty soon I'd imagine, especially when they've already got it reduced. And then we'll just whiz through quickly these smaller sets. Jay's Mech Battle Pack in 71805. This is actually a 6+ set, and sometimes it's very obvious why things are 4+ or 6+, but then you get ones like this where actually you sort of think, why is there even an age difference between this and the previous one? If anything, this looks more basic, but who knows, they do make up things as they go along quite a lot. For a bit more of a sizable mech, you can go to the 7+ set in 71806. It's being Cole's Elemental Earth mech. That one is also going to be on the way out, as indeed is the last of these little juniorized mechs. This one being 71807, Sora's Elemental Tech mech. And to be fair, actually, I think out of all of them, this is probably the best. It's nice to get some of these pieces in these colors, something that the Ninjago theme is pretty good for overall, but especially in a set like this. The mech itself is a bit more sizable. I always really enjoy the quality level of printing that we get on minifigs in this theme. It's a real shame that other things such as ideas, icons, city, well, quite frankly, a lot of other themes, especially Star Wars or Harry Potter, never get this level of detailing. It is annoying, and these are actually unique to this set. Yes, we've had the characters in other ones, but with this particular printing, they are currently unique. So overall, a pretty good one for a fairly decent price. We then move on to something a little bit more sizable and a dragon with a bit more presence in set 71809. This one coming with 5 minifigs as well, 2 of which are still unique to the set. It's certainly not a good price. It's a little bit high again on that price per piece basis, although it's kind of understandable given some of the pieces included here. Nonetheless, though, still a bit overpriced at retail. Look for this on a discount. If you do that, though, look, it's a fairly sizable dragon, certainly quite swooshable. The little mini side build is neither here nor there, frankly. They've just added that in, but at least you do get the minifigures too, so there's quite a bit of fun to this set. and it's certainly not a particularly good display piece. That's not what it's aimed at, but at the same time, you're not going to be embarrassed by having this sat on the side either. It looks okay, but of course its main function is for that play factor and a fun little build for the younger Lego fan. It originally came out in January of 2024, so by the time it retires at the end of this year, it'll have had a shelf life of about a couple of years. Now, there are some more bigger ones coming up, particularly aimed more at the adult collector. However, in the meantime, a few more small ones, this being the Young Dragon Ryu in set 71810. Again, just very compact. Not going to offer too much fun as a standalone set, but if you get a couple of these, then there's certainly fun to be had there. Once again, it's not a totally inaccessible price by any means. Another that is retiring offers quite a bit of fun in the 7 Plus set 71811. Unfortunately, just the pricing on this really is outrageous again. I know that there are certain pieces in this, I mean, particularly the wheels, etc., which allow it to be bumped up in price, but nonetheless, if you want to be able to have parents affording sets for kids to get involved in Lego, then having prices like this really isn't acceptable. And price per piece on this is ridiculous. So I can understand if it's the sort of thing you'd like to get for a kid as a gift, and bear in mind, yes, naturally being in this video, it is retiring, but don't go anywhere near it at retail price. It just simply isn't worth it. Now, slightly better value on a price per piece basis, but still fairly heftily retail overall, is set 71812, Kai's Ninja Climber Mech. As the mechs go, it's fairly impressive. It's got a good amount of posability and certainly fun to be had there, but it is more on the juniorized end of things. If you want a more impressive mech that you could actually have for displayability rather than just play, there is another one that's going to be coming up very shortly. And I would certainly advise getting that, even if it's a gift for a kid, again, rather than yourself. I would suggest the other one rather than this, but be advised, this one is going. Now then, this next one, the Wolf Mask Shadow Dojo in set 71813. This was originally released in March of last year, 2024. So the fact it's retiring this year, it's not going to have had the longest shelf life. And whilst it is still not what I would consider to be a collector's set, it's not detailed enough, it is definitely more adult fan orientated as well. You know, there's plenty of play that can be had here, and whilst it's completely open back, meaning that display from that side of things isn't so good, the overall set itself does look that bit better, makes for a bit more of an intriguing build experience, and also the play is a little bit more integrated with the set itself rather than just being, you know, vehicles that would be played with independently. So a bit more going on in this set, and one that, I mean, look, I wouldn't have it displayed on a table in the middle of a room like this marketing picture is doing, because as we just saw, it looks pretty poor from the back. However, if you had it up on a shelf, then again, it's certainly not going to look particularly out of place. It's not a juniorized set in the way that it looks, and that's a positive. Unfortunately, after that rather coolish looking set, we then come to something that's cool in a different manner. The Ice Motorcycle of Zane here, just a 7 Plus set, very basic. I am choosing to go through this chronologically in order of the set numbers, so that's why it's bouncing around back and forth a little bit in terms of the ages that these particular sets are aimed at. But anyway, be advised, that one is also going. But we then have the Tournament Battle Arena, again just a 7 Plus set, but the pricing is arguably a little bit better in this. It's still, you know, not fantastic overall, but price per piece does work out a little bit better. And the key idea here is that you can actually sit the minifigs in the battle section and then make them duel it out. I wonder how long it's going to be until the novelty of something like this wears off, but at least it gives kids 6 more minifigs to play with. 5 of those are still unique to this set as well. So if that's the sort of thing that matters to you, just bear that in mind. Our next one, though, sees things become a bit more intriguing. This is set 71819, the Dragonstone Shrine. It's a 13 plus set, technically, but one that adults are certainly not going to be sorry to have on display on a shelf. It looks a lot better. It's actually very elegant in the way that it's been put together. Yes, things like the waterfall, perhaps a little bit basic, just coming out of the dragon's mouth, but I feel that's being very nitpicky. Overall, the general impression this is giving is one that is very pretty. Whilst it's compact, there is enough space for the minifigures to be in it as well. Not great, I guess, as much then from a play point of view, just because it is quite compact. But that again is why this set starts to slip more into the older demographic. There are some bits that you can play around with, a little bit of extra intrigue, but this is more about the build experience that goes into it. a few more advanced techniques, and then enjoying that displayability of the finished product. 5 of its 6 minifigures are also unique to this set still. It was originally released in March of last year, so again, not going to have had the longest shelf life, and certainly one that I think that a lot more people should be considering because it is a nice little set. Of course, if you want to actually buy any of these, then I'd really appreciate it if you use my affiliate links, put those in the description down below. You know how it works, you don't pay extra, I get a little kickback. If you find any of these videos useful, then hopefully you think that's fair, so I would appreciate it. Then we come to set 71820. This is the Ninja Team Combo Vehicle, a 9+ set, which on the face of it is actually really interesting. I love these tread wheel tires. And in fact, the overall look of that main build itself is really impressive. And the fact that you can then split it off into other smaller builds as well, that's great for playability. Now, once again, we get 6 minifigures in this set. At the moment, only one of those is still unique. They have been reused quite a bit, so not really a reason to be looking at it. And the ultimate thing here is that although this is a cool looking build with lots of playability, the price, again, just really lets this down. It's so unfortunate that they're doing it. A retail price of $90. I think it was the same in Europe. It was £80, obviously even more expensive in Canada and Australia. It's just not accessible. Loads of parents that won't be able to get this, and then kids are just going to miss out. So really nice set, interesting build, big thumbs up in that regard, but Lego's money grabbing really lets this one down. Don't go near it at retail. Now, I mentioned a few minutes ago about a mech that was going to be better for display, and this is it. 71821 Cole's Titan Dragon mech. This is a 12+ one, and they specifically did it in order to try and show off how they could create something that looked more detailed, had better posability, just all around was a much larger, imposing, cool mech. And sadly, they said that it was basically going to be a one-off, and they weren't going to be doing mechs slightly aimed at the older demographic. Again, this only has a 12+ a suggested age on the box, but plenty of AFOLs that would be quite happy to get this as well. You can see just about there in comparison with the minifig, or this is an even better shot, quite how sizable this is. That is obviously fun to play with, but actually looks really good on display. You know, I'm a few summers past the age of 12 now, give or take a few decades, but I would still be very happy in building this and having it on display. I think it's a really cool build, and it's such a shame that they're not supposedly going to be doing more like it, instead reverting back to the more juniorized mech builds. Of course, that does make this a more interesting proposition from an investment point of view. If you would like to see what the forecast is for Lego investing in this set and others in this video, as well as if there's currently any deals on it discount-wise in your region, then make sure to check out that other video over on Rumble, only on Rumble. I'm not going to be putting it on YouTube. Link to that in the description down below. Whatever your interest is, though, regardless whether it's investing or if it's just something for you, it was only released in June of last year, 2024. So as I film this, currently been out for less than a year. It's going to be retiring by the end of 2025. It's going to have had a pretty short shelf life indeed. And I would suggest that this is not one that you want to be missing out on. Now, also only released in June of last year was this, set 71822, the Source Dragon of Motion. And boy, it is an impressive one to say the least. Definitely not the best dragon that Lego has given us. Not in my opinion anyway, but it's not falling far short. There are a few issues with this. The posability of the head, etc. isn't fantastic, but overall, it's a really good set. Let down a little bit by the minifigs. I mean, they're all great again, but only one of them is actually unique to this. It's a shame that there aren't more. But of course, the main attraction to this is that dragon itself. Fantastic for play. The build experience of this is, of course, taking things to another level. And your end product, the displayability, again, looks really good. Now, whilst I think it's fair to say that most adult collectors are going to be interested in the likes of the, the city gardens, the markets, the docks, etc., those bigger, impactful builds, having the odd one like this, whether it's the mech or this dragon, they don't look out of place. They've got that fun factor, but also look really cool. So it's another I suggest you don't miss out on. And if you do want to get it before it retires this year, then please consider using my affiliate links down in the description below. If this video has helped you at all, then that would help me out in return. It's then quite a different set, though, in 71823, this just being the little 6+ Spinjitzu spinner. There's a couple of these that are retiring. The first of them is this, Kai's, and the second one is Sora's in 71824. You've then got Raz and Aaron's Super Storm Jet in 71833. It's, again, a little bit highly priced, I feel, but to be fair, more reasonable on a price per piece basis. This one, there's a certain amount of fun to be had with it. And I'd go so far as to say that actually, if you're looking for one as a gift, this does offer a lot more interest than some of the others that we've looked at, but again, don't go near it at retail price. Okay, just keep your eyes peeled out for a discount on this in its run up to retirement throughout the rest of this year. Again, don't expect it to disappear until around November, December time, but at least that way, if it is of interest to you, it gives you plenty of opportunity to keep your eyes peeled for a discount, and at that point this does become a pretty good set. And then also retiring this year is 71841, the Dragonian Storm Village, and unfortunately this is quite a small set with not a huge amount of playability to it, and it certainly doesn't have, I don't think anyway, anywhere near the sort of display impact that some of those other sets have had. Of course, what I like or don't like, or indeed what you like or don't like, doesn't necessarily affect the investment opportunities on some of these sets. So don't forget to check out that separate video over on Rumble, link in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please do the whole liking, subscribing thing. It really does help. I'll be covering all the other LEGO themes that are retiring, so make sure not to miss out on those. And I will see you on the next one.